From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings live and direct from Santa Monica, California, with your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over the breaking news of new comments by Pramila Jayapal and Nancy Pelosi about the recon, and guess what their comments say? They give us a date, but the date may signal why CR for stimulus is our best bet to get a check out sooner. All the latest details on them in view of the latest comments that came in from Bernie Sanders less than 48 hours ago, and the President of the United States no less than 7 days before that. The incredible recon will become a law. It's the Build Back Better Act. It's the BBB passed in the House of Representatives back in the month of November, and now in the Senate across the board. But CR for stimulus is an effort created by this channel to get a stimulus check out sooner as not part of the BBB and getting it out in the next 30 days. Will it work? I'll go over the latest details in today's recording direct and live from Santa Monica, California, in view of the new comments from Pramila Jayapal. We'll be analyzing the recon that will become a law eventually in the House of Representatives, with big checks with those Senate changes across the board. The big checks already in there, at least 15,000 to 60,000, with third stimulus already in there as well. But no time and place for third stimulus to become a law, and the fourth stimulus, you can get it right today. And in this recording, I'm going to show you how to get thousands of dollars. Fourth stimulus, meantime, will also be paired with student loan debt forgiveness. I'll have the latest details on that. Plus, fifth stimulus. Can the president do fifth stimulus by executive order? It's brand new, and it's only live on Mornings LA today. Plus, new indication and question whether the Federal Reserve will have not one, but 5 interest rate spikes in the year 2022. What's going on with that? What's going on with those new economic numbers that came in on Friday and Vladimir Putin's new numbers today? I have all those incredible details direct and live from Santa Monica, California, as the effort is underway to get a stimulus check to you sooner. It's called CR for stimulus, and the latest details are coming up right now. And here we go. How are you? Good morning, everybody. And this is LALATE. The recon passed in the House of Representatives back in the month of November 2011 and is now in the Senate. And the Senate changes will be robust. When you go over those incredible checks, this recon that will pay you at least $60,000 on top of the $15,000 in there, the MSC that Joe Biden wants to go out right away. And also third stimulus with its $45,000 of checks. Get your pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you how to get that money this week without the need of waiting for fourth stimulus. Student loan debt forgiveness covered in this video. Fifth stimulus also covered. But we're going to look at CR for stimulus and why the effort is underway to get that money out right now as a standalone check in another body of legislation. And you're going to have new details of it live on air on this broadcast. Then we'll be looking at the effort to do some of fifth stimulus by executive order. Can you do it? You can, because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. I'm excited you're here. We have a lot in this recording. Plus, we'll be looking at the incredible shocker. Will there be 5 interest rate spikes in the year 2022? And what happened to those consumer confidence numbers that came in on Friday? They were not good. I'll have the latest details on that. You're watching LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. And I want you part of this incredible family. So subscribe right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay to the very end of this video because we have a lot of money in this video, but we're going to first start with the incredible checks one at a time that are in this incredible recon. No less than 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. We're going to go over each of them one at a time, and here we go. That recon, the Build Back Better Act, passed in the House in November, now in the Senate since the new year, has at least $15,000 of checks in there, but upwards of $60,000. With 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, let's go over each of those 3 clusters and 3 add-ons starting right now. Hazard pay got in there. For my essential workers, 1 more year. That is huge. What is it? It's the earned income tax credit. To learn more about it under third stimulus, go to irs.gov. $4,000 of checks got in there for elder care. $4,000 of checks to care for young children got in there as well. $550 check for the Pell Grant college students got in there as well. $12,500 checks to buy a new electric vehicle got in there. And checks to repair your home if you're in a low-income community. Wow, that is incredible. There are a lot of checks in this recon, upwards of 15 to 60,000, but there's also 3 add-ons of checks, and we're going to go over the first add-on of checks starting right now. It came from Maxine Waters, and it is money to buy your first home. During the time of escrow, the federal government gave money to the seller in your name. Maxine Waters wanted $25,000. She got a little bit less than it, but it's in there. It was added in the House provisions that were passed in November. It is money for the purchase of your first home. Wow. Let's go now to the second cluster checks. Home repairs, this is to weatherize your home. They got checks in there as well. And then they got in their paid leave checks. How much is that? It's a lot of money. If you make $75,000 or more per year, it is about $1,700 a week. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it is about $800 a week. If you make $15,000 or more per year is about $400 a week. How many weeks? 4 to 6 weeks per year. Wow. So yeah, that's $46,000 on the high end. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, then they're going to get the check, because the concept is you have to stay home from work due to sickness or illness of you or a family member. So if the family member is someone else in the household, they'll get the check across the board. All income qualifications apply, W-2 or 1099, you all get it. Which brings us then to the second add-on of checks, $250 billion, just a little bit less. It comes from Bob Casey. This is covered benefits for seniors and people on disabilities of free home health care. Wow, incredible. Let's go to the third cluster of checks where we find true deliciousness. They got in there free internet. They got in there money for the farmers checks. They got in there also money for the independent contractors. The seniors, 2 types of benefits that amount to really checks in a way. 2 on the House, and then 3 that would come on the Senate side. Let's go over the details of it right now. House, they got in their hearing checks that will provide you hearing aid across the board. They also got in there the Medicaid gap fix that will provide you years of subsidized private insurance. More about it later in this video. But on the Senate side, they added in there 3 provisions. Dental, they proposed to add 3 provisions. Dental, hearing, and dental vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of what we're talking about when we talk about the next instrument, and it is MSC. What is MSC? Who gets it? How much is it? What do you need to know? And everything across the board. MSC, just like the last provisions we went over, would be an add-on coming from the Senate side. Those senators have told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since May of last year that they're adding it in there. So what is it? MSC refers to monthly IRS stimulus check. The provision would send out a check from IRS monthly. We use the word MSC to differentiate it from everything in the fourth stimulus recon that has lots of checks, upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of multiple checks in this recon. This is a separate provision that would send out checks from IRS. So, who gets it? Back in the month of May, all the way to the present, those senators have detailed the eligibility. It would be the same as a third stimulus check. So let's recap who got the third and who would get the fourth. Very simple across the board. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get it if that's your annual income. Married couple, $150,000 less, annual income, you get as well. Double it. Family of 4, you get as well. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you get it as well. Adult dependents would also get it. It is not income. It's not taxable. It's offered nationwide, not on a local basis. Nothing you need to do. It's automatic across the board, and it is a provision that would be added on the existing provisions in this incredible recon. So what is the payout scale? Those legislators have told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since May. There would be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, for up to 6 months across the board. And there you go. That is MSC. So then the next question is how, where, is there something easier to get it out than the Build Back Better Act? And everything you need to know, we're going to go over all those details starting right now, live from Santa Monica, California. As said earlier in this video, we're talking about the Build Back Better Act, the BBB, a body of legislation passed in the House back in November that we also refer to as the Fourth Stimulus Recon. 3 provisions, 3 clusters, 3 add-ons, and it was passed in the House, but has not been passed in the Senate yet. The first item of business would be to send it to the Senate and have that Senate subcommittee starting to add provisions in there. Now remember, it's Democrats or Democrats, so we have thousands of pages of provisions and checks passed in the House in November of last year. The senators aren't removing those checks, they're adding things on top of that. That would be during the Senate subcommittee, but that event has not happened. Then when they're finished with that, it goes to a Senate floor vote, then a 2-day vote-a-rama. Well, here's what's an issue, is that that event has not happened. So is there an opportunity to get a check out sooner? There is. More about that second. It's CR for stimulus. But it's important to advocate for the inclusion of provisions in this Build Back Better Act because the body of legislation is still not a bill on the Senate side. So pick up the phone and advocate to those senators and tell them why you need money and what provisions you want in this Fourth Stimulus Recon. Advocacy is what we do on this channel. This channel has delivered more advocacy than the American Petition, more advocacy than anything in the United States for the Fourth Stimulus Recon. 9 million phone calls, with viewers spending on average about 20 minutes per call, speaking to those legislators, senators, and saying, I need the provision. This is why I need it. So what you want to do is the following. You want to call once a week and tell them why you need it, what the provision is you need, and what may have happened differently than the week before when you last called. Speak to the same person in the senator's office once a week and remind them that you need this incredible money because they need to be reminded that you still need that help. And who are those senators you want to advocate to? Let's go over their names right now. They are Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Pick up the phone and contact their Washington, D.C. staffers and say why you need it. Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Now, that is the Build Back Better Act, the Fourth Stimulus Recon. Is there an opportunity to get money out sooner in something else? There is. And it's called hashtag CR, the number 4, stimulus. Let's go over what this is by going back in time to 2020. In 2020, it looked much like how it looks today. We had just ended first stimulus. We were waiting for a new behemoth called second stimulus. Thousands of pages at issue for a new proposed bill. The negotiators, on behalf of the Republicans, Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary, and on behalf of the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi. They negotiated in summer 2020, then fall, then winter, and still hadn't gotten it done. So I looked at the situation. I saw a common theme. 1, months of negotiation, 11 months of it, still not done. Number 2, no inherent deadline to get it done. So I said I need a deadline to get these people to get it done. I need a deadline, and I don't necessarily need the second stimulus package that's thousands and thousands of pages. What if I just take the check and I put it somewhere else? Well, in a particular day in December of 2020, I found the somewhere else. It's called a continuing resolution. There's a lot of other names for it, but every few months, the federal government has to do a continuing resolution or a budget bill or a CR. It's to fund the federal government. And guess what? It's a deadline. They may let it roll a day over deadline or 2 days or maybe a month, but they don't let it roll a few months over deadline because the federal government would shut down and run out of money. So it's a hard, fast deadline. My idea? Deliver a recording on this channel to advocate for the inclusion of a stimulus check in the CR, a never before heard of concept. See if the Purple Power get behind it and be prepared for the statements against it. And in December 2020, I prepared accordingly. And then I went on air. I said, Purple Power, I have an idea. We've waited 11 months for Steve and Nancy to negotiate the second stimulus. They're still negotiating. Hasn't happened. They don't have a deadline. What if we got a check into something else? Here's something else. It's called a continuing resolution. And at the time, its deadline was December 2020. What if we put a stimulus check in there? It has a deadline December 2020. They got to get it done. That means the check will go out and means you get a check maybe about January. Viewers of this channel liked the idea because it was an inherent deadline. So I delivered the recording. Hey, it's me, LA. I have a great idea. Never seen this ever before. It's never been done in the United States government. How about putting a stimulus check into continuing resolution? Immediately, the critics were ready, and I was ready for them. Their reaction was exactly what I thought they were going to say. LA, you're crazy. It does not belong in there. A stimulus check does not belong in a CR, they said. Because a continuing resolution is to fund the federal government, to pay money to the federal government. It's not to put money in the hands of the American citizens. And my reaction was ready. You're right. That's exactly correct. But that's not to say we can't. Throughout all this pandemic, Congress has been putting money into COVID relief bills that doesn't belong in there. They had money for foreign military governments that was not COVID relief in COVID relief bills. They had money to build a new FBI building in a COVID relief bill. And they had money for the Department of Copyrights, not for COVID copyrights, just copyrights during a COVID relief bill. Congress has notoriously done this for decades, including provisions into bills that don't belong in there. So you can certainly do it, and you've done it before for things that aren't the American people. Do it for us now. We delivered the message. We advocated. I delivered the exclusive, you delivered the push, and we woke up one morning and they said, there will be stimulus in the continuing resolution. We looked, and it was unemployment stimulus. Oh, not what we asked for. We asked for a stimulus check. So we pushed again, and finally woke up one morning and it was in there. The continuing resolution of December 2020 had finally gotten our stimulus check in there, as I had created the concept on this channel. It was a stimulus check. It went out at $600. It was paid in around December or January. Ironically, if you forget, the second stimulus package negotiated for Nancy and Steve never, ever happened. So you never got a check for the second stimulus package because it never happened. You got it because I came up with the idea of putting it somewhere else. Over a week ago on a Saturday, about a week ago and 2 days ago, I said, you know what? Do you like to do something else? You want to try to get this money somewhere else? And immediately before I said what the else was, there were people in the live chat that knew exactly what I was about to say, and they started sending the message. Are you saying? And I said, yeah. Doing CR for stimulus again 2 years later. CR for stimulus 2022. It looks eerily similar. I told the Purple Power, the viewership of this channel, look how similar the two events are. It's 2 years later, yet second stimulus took 11 months of negotiating, and I called for CR for stimulus 2020. We're now at 11 months of negotiating. Then it was two people. Now it's also two people, Joe and Joe. Then it was Nancy and Steve. And you need this money more than ever. So I said, you want to do it? And viewers said yes. That became the hashtag campaign. If you're in the live chat right now, right now. Hashtag C like Charles, R like Robert, the number 4, stimulus. That's all used, no A. STIMULUS. I think I just said that right. Hashtag CR for stimulus. And we went on the push. Well, is there a new effort to get other money on top of CR for stimulus, and does it work? Can executive order be coupled with CR for stimulus, and will it work or will it won't work? All the latest details, brand new after the commercial break. Then I have new comments from Pramila Jayapal that came out just a few hours ago. It may signal why you want CR for stimulus now and don't particularly want Build Back Better Act today. You want Build Back Better Act after CR for stimulus. We'll be looking at the Boost Act. We'll be looking at ways for the federal government to send out money to you right now that does not require even executive order or a recall. Is it that easy? It is. It's coming up after the commercial break. Plus, we'll go over all these incredible checks of this Build Back Better Act and how for you to get checks, thousands of dollars of it, third stimulus, right today. Plus, we'll be looking at what the Federal Reserve is doing, and is there going to be 5 interest rate spikes in the year 2022? What is going on? All those incredible details coming up after the commercial break. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you as Mornings LA continues, live from Santa Monica. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues as Mornings LA continues right now from Santa Monica, California. In the second half, we're going to go over that recon that will get passed in the next few weeks, but new comments from Pramila Jayapal suggest that maybe we need CR stimulus sooner rather than later. The Senate changes will be robust. They'll add lots of checks to this incredible recon, upwards of about $15,000 across the board on top of the existing checks. And third stimulus, no time to wait for it on the fourth stimulus. I'm going to show you how to get thousands of dollars in today's recording. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that, plus fifth stimulus, and the latest details on that. We're going to go over all these incredible details. It's coming up in the second half of this video. All that and more. Plus, will there be 5 interest rates or 7 interest rate spikes in the year 2022? My goodness. We have all that coming up in a jaw-dropping big broadcast and a lot of checks coming up in the second half. Stay to the very end. This is LA, live from Santa Monica, California. And I want you to subscribe. Go right on this video right now and subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And with that, let's go into really where we are with brand new comments from Pramila Jayapal in this big second half. Hope your weather is good, and good morning. This is a continuation of Mornings LA starting right now. Pramila Jayapal, head of the Progressive Caucus, over the weekend had a comment. And, you know, the comment is sort of consistent with what one viewer said during the commercial break. The viewer during the commercial break said they talked about this date, then they talked about that date. That was what the person's comment said during the commercial break. Well, what did Pramila Jayapal say in just a few hours ago? She's head of the Progressive Caucus in the House. She said that the 4 stimulus recon will become a law on March 1st. Oh. Why? Why? Now, I'm not going to be shady. I'm going to go right in on her for this ridiculous comment. You know, when something's ridiculous, I will tell you it's ridiculous. And this is a ridiculous comment. She says that the Build Back Better Act will become a law by March 1st. Why? Well, before I even get to my analysis, let's go to someone else's analysis. Who? Nancy Pelosi's analysis of Pramila Jayapal's comment. She said, as to that date, which I just heard, that's an aspiration that Pramila has. Ooh, shady. She says, we will pass the bill when we have the votes to pass the bill. Okay, so let's go on here. Pramila Jayapal and Nancy Pelosi, they're in the House of Representatives. They're not in the Senate. The Build Back Better Act, already passed in the House in November. We're now in the Senate. So why is Pramila, a House member, telling us what's going to happen in the Senate? She has no idea what's happening in the Senate. She's literally making up a storyline to get a quote. It's like you're going to the corner asking the pretzel guy, what date is the Senate going to pass it? The Senate will pass the fourth stimulus recon on April 22nd. Thank you, Mr. Pretzel Guy. That's what Pramela's doing. She has no idea what the Senate is doing. She's not a senator. Now, here's what's also crazy. And this is what Nancy basically says in this quote. And I'm going in deep on this one, Pramela. I'm not going to let you get away with it. Is Pramela proposing anything to be done on this recon between now and the next few weeks that makes March 1st the date? Because we're doing, 3 things today and then 4 things the day after that. And that adds up to March 1st. No. Pramela has not proposed anything to be done specifically that lines up a March 1st deadline. That's why Nancy Pelosi says it. Is this a absolutely ridiculous quote? It is a ridiculous quote. And this is why CR for stimulus is needed right now. Pramila Jayapal is a House member. She has nothing to do with senators, but she is a progressive. And in the last 4 days, the progressives have been acting crazy and not thinking logical about the recon. It's today, Pramila. Yesterday, it was Bernie on the House. What did Bernie do yesterday and the day before? You understand, I understand that you need all your Democrats to pass the recon in the Senate. And there are Democratic progressives who have provisions they want in there. And there are moderate Democrats who want certain provisions in there. The moderate Democrats want the SALT cap. So what did Bernie say over the weekend? The SALT cap is dead. Why? He said it was removed. Who removed it? During negotiations. What negotiations? It never happened. It's literally a made-up story. Senator Bob Menendez, who's a very esteemed senator, Democrat, said, Bernie, you just made up a whole story there. That never happened. Yeah, not a good look. You're literally making up stories. Now, what's really not a good look is that Bernie is just basically taking the provision that the moderate Democrats have to have in the recon to do your recon for you that really helps you, doesn't hurt anyone, doesn't hurt any progressive, and saying it's been thrown to the wayside because he hates the provision. Not a good look. That's not what gets the recon done. Number 3, we had all the quotes about Ron Klain, Klain, the President's Chief of Staff, going into the weekend, where the President's Chief of Staff was really sending out hit pieces on Joe Manchin every single day in the month of December, saying Joe Manchin's horrible, Joe Manchin's a bad person, Joe Manchin's a bad person, and you need that Joe Manchin vote. And again, Ron Klain is cuddling with the progressives. We have Ron Klain, then we have Bernie Sanders, now we have Pramila Jayapal. All this is not looking good. So that is why it's not looking good, because these people are out of touch. They are literally running like a chicken with their head cut off, thinking about things that are bad with the moderates that aren't bad, and not focusing on getting the recon done. So that brings us back a step to where we were before the commercial break. This is why CR for stimulus looks better by the minute, by the hour, by the day, because of one. We are saying they'll get to the recon when they start acting sensibly. But in the meantime, let's use another body of legislation, not the Build Back Better Act, not the Fourth Stimulus Recon, not the social spending bill. Let's use something else and put a stimulus check in there, because that's going to get passed. And that is the continuing resolution. The continuing resolution is a budget bill that funds the federal government, and its next one is in February. So even if they delay it a few days or a week, it still has a deadline of February. It's still going to happen. This is why a stimulus check in the CR that is totally different than all this with the progressives and the moderate Democrats makes a lot more sense today than it even did yesterday. Now, can we have the President of the United States get you more money on top of that? We can. And let me go over that right now. The easiest way to do it is a 2-prong approach. The second one, I know exactly for how to do it. The first one, I don't know all the nuances just yet. I'll explain to you why. The first one is the easiest. The president can come in and start to do part of this stimulus right today. This stimulus involves removing COLA as your benchmark for your benefits check and using inflation, guess what? You don't need a bill to do that. Guess what? You don't need an executive order even to do that. All you need is a directive from the president picking up the phone or writing a letter to the Department of Social Security Administration and saying, going forward, you're not doing it this way, you're going to do it that way. And suddenly you get more money in the mail starting in 30 days. Let's go over the analysis. COLA is the current benchmark that determines how much your benefits go up every year. And COLA doesn't work because for many years it was zero. So your benefits check was the same month every month, same amount every month for every year. And when I say benefit check, I mean you, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Well, because inflation was very high in December, your COLA benefits was announced at 5.9%. So this January check went up 5.9%, and every check thereafter is going to be all going up 5.9%. President should not have waited an ounce of time. He should do right now. Pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administration saying, you know what? My caucus, the Democrats, all want to remove COLA. I want to remove COLA. We're going to use inflation. And so starting in February, you're using inflation as a benchmark. You're not using COLA. You know what the net result of this is? Instantly, you get more money in the mail starting that next month. How does this work? So inflation is at 7.5% per the Department of Labor announced last week. COLA, 5.9%. Easy math, you would get at least 2.3%, 2.5% approximately more per month in the mail for your benefits instantly. And you don't have to wait for any act of Congress. You don't have to talk to Joe Manchin about this one. It's very simple. The concept derives from the president's ability to give guidance. When was the last time the president did this? He did this with SNAP benefits. He did this in October of 2021. He picked up the phone and contacted Department of Agriculture saying, you know what, I don't think you're paying enough money for food, for SNAP. So I want you to start paying more, an average of 25% more starting in October 2021. And that did not require an executive order. It did not require an act of Congress or a bill or a recon. It was literally just a phone call and executive instruction. Done. Now, here's the second way the president can get money in your wallet. I don't know all the nuances of this because there's a part of it I don't know. I'll explain to you which part I don't know yet. The president can reallocate money and send it out to you. The part of this I don't know is if there is enough money to make this worth our while. And so if you're one of those viewers that really is on top of where every penny is, send me a private message. Let me go over the analysis on this for you right now. So, can the president go into the Department of Treasury, grab a wad of cash, and send you out a wad of cash by executive order? He cannot. The president, by executive order, cannot send out money from the Department of Treasury. That requires an act of Congress. The president can, however, reallocate money from programs that have now ended, but there's money left over. He can reallocate that money to be sent out to you. Who's done this? Donald Trump. How many times has he done it? Once, but I asked for him to do it twice. Let's go over the analysis. The most important example that Donald Trump should have done it with, but didn't, and I think it cost him the election, was under first and second stimulus, there were a lot of business COVID programs at Small Business Administration, SBA, under Javita Carranza, the head of SBA. The programs were over. The programs had ended, but the money was still there. They didn't use all the money up. There was $550 billion allocated that was still sitting there. It was confirmed. I said, you can reallocate that money, Mr. President, send it out as a stimulus check. Had he sent that out as a stimulus check, the fate of the presidential elections may have been different. Now, he did get the message clearly other times throughout the year because Donald Trump did reallocate funds elsewhere in 2021. The most obvious example was the following. FPUC, that add-on that goes on top of UI and PUA, had ended. People needed more FPUC, so he looked around and he couldn't grab money out of Treasury. He couldn't just extend extra weeks of FPUC, that's an act of Congress. So what did he do? He could reallocate money. He found money at FEMA that was sitting around left over from COVID expired programs and said, FEMA, you got extra money. So you're going to send it out as another program like UPUC, we're going to call it LWA. The states will ask for it, and then you'll send it to them, and it will go out. That was what LWA was. Repurposed FEMA money sent out for a different purpose. So, can Joe Biden do this today? He can. Is there enough money for it? This is the part I don't know. I don't know if there's enough money to make it worth your while. But fifth stimulus, you can do those parts by executive decree. The CR for stimulus, you can do that. And this, if there's enough money, he could do it as well. What else is on the horizon? The Boost Act doesn't make sense. People have been asking me about the Boost Act. The Boost Act is another bill. You don't need another bill because every bill needs a recon. And every bill that needs a recon gets stalled up. So we don't need another recon. We have this one. So there you go. Pramila Jayapal, Bernie Sanders, Ron Klain, really out of touch, going after and isolating the moderate Democrats every breath that they have, not helping the recon, but doesn't have anything to do with CR for stimulus. That's why it makes sense across the board. So get your pen and paper ready. We're going to go over big sums of money in this incredible recon. This is the Build Back Better Act. There is a lot of checks in there. I want you to know all those checks one at a time. And we start with about $15,000, but upwards of about $60,000 of checks that would still get done even after we do CR for stimulus. Let's go over each of them. Get your pen and paper ready. We're going to follow along with these incredible monies. These were all passed in 2021, so they are staying in there. Remember, senators would keep stuff in there. They would just add them in. They would add provisions on top of that. And the first one is the SALT cap. $10,000? No, it'll be $72,500 of what you need to deduct in state and local taxes on the federal tax return. They got cheaper prescription medication in there, growing it from 20 medications a year one to 30 medications year 2028. The most expensive, like Medicare Part D and B, cancer, arthritis, diabetes, can get in there. They got checks for $40 billion of free job training. Want to take a higher paying job or want a new job after you're let go at the White House as chief of staff? Yeah, that money's in there as well. They got in there the Medicaid gap fix, providing years of subsidized private insurance to uninsured low-income people in 12 Republican holdout states. The provision got in there and staying in there. I'm going to go over the housing in just a second. These are checks you can get right today. I'm going to come back to that in a second. They got in there the incredible $65 per month when you're not in school for nutrition, the $550 Pell Grant check for college students. They got in there $12,500 checks for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. They got everything from third stimulus extended, the hazard pay, the CTC, the home health care, the child care, and the elder care. But now let's turn to the housing. Well, fourth stimulus has two new provisions for housing: home repairs, low-income community, and weatherize your home. But the other provisions from fourth stimulus that look eerily familiar are a repeat from third stimulus. Now, third stimulus passed in spring of 2021. As soon as it became a law, bad journalists who don't do their research said the only thing in third stimulus is a $14 stimulus check. I said, wrong. You're collecting your six-figure salary as a journalist, and you're not reporting the whole story. There's a lot of checks in there, at least $15,000 of checks under third stimulus. Tell the viewers, do your research. They didn't. I did. And viewers got on average $45,000. Over the last year and a half that this channel has been around, my focus has been getting you money every time I can get you money. I got you $25 million of EIDL loans and grants. Under this third stimulus, I think it's about another 10, 20, or 30 more million. So we're somewhere in the $30 to $50 million range. I'm trying to calculate in the next 2 days. A lot of money. But here's what happened, is that as soon as third stimulus became the law, viewers on average got $45,000 that round, those months. Then during the summer of last year, I said, go back and get another pot of money from the same way. They did. Then, you know what happened last month in December 2021. It was Christmas. It was holidays, Santa. And I said, go get some Santa stimulus. Go get some Christmas stimulus. The average viewer of this channel got another $15,000 for this money. So now that we're in January 2022, you can get another round. So pull out the newsletter if you're a member. If you're not, become a member. And also otherwise follow along with notes right now, because I'm going to show you how to get these big sums of money. We're going to get some rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. I haven't covered in detail in over a week, but it's back starting today. I'm going to start with that rent. Viewer this channel, we're getting this types of money for rent back in October. Now they're getting upwards of $40,000. They're getting upwards of $40,000. Where do you get it? 6 places. You ready? Here we go. Take notes. You contact City Hall, City House Authority, County Hall, County House Authority, State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage and utility assistance because of COVID. You want to do 3 musts. You must get multiple applications on file. You must do multiple rounds. More about that second. And you must reach out to all 6 places. Next, utility assistance. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. Reach out to all your different utility companies and get utility assistance because of COVID. SNAP, reach out to Department of Agriculture, get that money for food. That's what SNAP is. Eligibility is easier than this third stimulus check. And boy, Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year. Over 10 years, it's $250,000. Get combo items like Nisi and Art Sullivan. They got 3. Keep on getting additional sums. Here was Mark at 2 items at $32,000. I said, Mark was your third. He got his third, bringing it to $50,000, and he's now at over $100,000. Here's a little range. She was at 105. Now she's at 120. So let's turn back to those rounds. This is what's very important and brand new today on mornings. So the round right now, as you're watching in January 2022, would be as far out as you can go. Shoot for May. Can't get May, shoot for April. Then you can't get it, shoot for March. Reach out to the last organization you reached out to. Ask them if they got another round of money. If you can get another pot of money. If they say you can't, then lean on the nonprofits. Feature the newsletter. One viewer in the last 24 hours said, I need some windows fixed in my home. One of the nonprofits does that. It's featured in the newsletter. So that's why you want that newsletter. Get this additional round and get it out as far possible as you can. And this is third stimulus. Imagine you can get this, and then we, of course, have CR for stimulus, and we, have, of course, would have the push for the president to do some of these items for fifth stimulus by executive decree. Things are looking really good. But if you find other pots of money the president can reallocate by executive order, send me a private message. I'll feature it live on air. And with that, let's go back into what's going on with the confusion of those economic numbers that came in on Friday. Vladimir Putin and also Jay Powell, it's a real messy situation. I'll tell it to you when it's messy. And I got to tell you, folks, it's messy. What's at issue? The consumer sentiment number came in, or consumer confidence sentiment number came in last Friday. What is this number about? This number is done monthly, and it looks at how confident consumers, you buying consumers, are in the economy. It was a bad number. So why was the number weak? Meaning they did not have confidence in the economy. They said, guess a word. You know the word, inflation. So they said inflation has caused them concern. Why? Inflation, price of goods is going up faster than their salary. Okay, so we have that first. Let's deal with the next part of this equation. Omicron. Omicron is right here and right up in front of us, and Omicron is causing its scope of inflation. But as its scope of inflation, it is causing inflation to grow faster and quicker and not alleviating the situation. So if Omicron is still growing, the concern across the board is if Omicron is still growing and inflation is still growing, then how do you fix that? Well, the Federal Reserve announced last week that it is adding 1 interest rate spike next month to curb inflation. Okay, that's all right. But the new economic data out this morning suggests that the Federal Reserve may do 5 interest rate spikes in the year 2022 at 0.25% interest rate spikes. Excuse me? That's a lot. And then there's concerns that the Federal Reserve may do 7. Now there's worries that the Federal Reserve may stifle inflation. Stifle inflation and stifle growth. And then, of course, we have Vladimir Putin. An oil concern, because oil impacts the economy. The potential to invade Ukraine, Vladimir Putin, the threat of potentially 7 interest rate spikes in 1 year, that concern would stifle growth, inflation, consumer confidence, a lot at issue. We're going to discuss it more at noontime at 11 a.m. coming up in about an hour and a half from now. We have a brand new Afternoons LA today as well at 3 o'clock and a brand new Evenings LA as well. A lot of details, a lot of economic data, and a lot of major twists and turns. And with that, subscribe. I want you part of the incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. Stay with me throughout the day with brand new shows live on air and tapes. Coming up next live is Home LALATE at 11 a.m. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning. Hope the weather is good where you are, and stay with LA for more.